A cheerful morning to my dear students. I am Harleen Kaur and I have already discussed first and second part of the chapter, The Best Christmas Present in the World. Now before proceeding further, let us discuss question answers of second section for your better understanding. Now the first question is on the page number 14. Who had written the letter to whom and when? And the answer is Jim McPherson, a captain in the British Army, had written that letter dated December 26, 1914 to his wife Connie. I hope students you are cross-checking your answers side by side. Second question is, why was the letter written? What was the wonderful thing that had happened? And the answer is, the letter described a wonderful event when the two armies, the British and the German, fighting against each other, celebrated Christmas together. And the third question is, what jobs did Hans Wolf and Jim McPherson have when they were not soldiers? Answer is, before joining the army, Hans played the cello in the orchestra and Jim was a school teacher in Dorset, as we have already discussed the same in the character sketch. Now the fourth question is, had Hans Wolf ever been to Dorset? Why did he say he knew it? No, Hans had never been to Dorset. He had only read about Dorset in Hardy's novel Far from the Madding Crowd. And the next question, do you think Jim McPherson came back from the war? How do you know this? No, Jim McPherson never came back home from the war. Perhaps, therefore, his wife Connie had preserved his letters. Now, students, let us proceed to the third section of this story. Having read the letter, the author put it back in the envelope. He decided to give the letter back to whom it belonged, as this letter belonged to Connie. The address was of Bridport, Dorset, so he drove to that place. The house number 12 turned out to be a burnt out shell. Here burnt out means destroyed by fire. It was found that Mrs. McPherson was in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles because she used candles rather than electricity, and she always thought that electricity was too expensive. The fireman had got her out just in time. She was 101 years old and now she was in a nursing home. Again, there are comprehension check question answers, and the first question is, why did the author go to Bridport? The author went to Bridport to meet Connie, Mrs. Jim McPherson, and deliver to her Jim's letter. And the second question is, how old was Mrs. McPherson now? Where was she? Mrs. McPherson now 101 years old. She was in a nursing home. Now students, let us continue. The author went to the nursing home. He met the matron. Here matron means a senior female nurse. She told the author that Mrs. McPherson was rather confused that day. They had put her in a conservatory. Here conservatory means a glass house for taking rest. The author found Mrs. McPherson sitting in a chair. Naturally, she looked up at the author vacantly, but her eyes lit up. Lit up means became bright with happiness or excitement. but her eyes lit up when he called her Connie and gave her the letter. He told her how he had got the letter, but she was not listening to him. She reached out and took his hand, but stroked the letter. Here, stroked means touched, tenderly means lightly. But stroked the letter, touched the letter lightly with her fingertips. Her eyes were filled with tears. She felt that her Jim had returned. She said that her Jim had kept his promise. He had returned on the eve of Christmas. She made him sit beside her. She kissed his cheek. She talked long and lovingly to him. She said that she had got the best Christmas present in the world. And now, students, the title of this story is a suitable title. The spirit of Christmas is the theme that prevails throughout the story. First, it was on the Christmas day in the middle of a raging war when the two troops made peace, the moment of peace that the soldiers shared with each other, and it was the Christmas present for them. Again, it was on a Christmas day when the narrator went to see Mrs. Macpherson. He went to return her husband's letter to her. The letter was precious to her, but even more precious was her delusion that the narrator was her husband, Jim, who she believed had returned as promised on a Christmas day. This was the best Christmas present in the world for her. Now, students, we have completed the first chapter excellently, and I am sharing one assignment with you, and you must solve the same on the assignment sheets. Don't forget to make mind maps in your fair notebook. Students, I hope you all enjoy it and most importantly learn from it. We shall meet again with the next chapter in the upcoming videos. Thank you and do take very good care of yourself.